Oh, hi there, YouTube. Long time no see. Uh, you know who I am. I know who you are. Let's get to it, shall we? Not a lot of news going on lately. I have a 10-month-old daughter now. My 3-year-old son's getting ready to go to school for the first time. And guess what? We have a new review. All right, this is going to be a somewhat complicated review. I'm going to be talking about Tomahawk Longknife fighting. Whenever I talk about Tomahawk Longknife fighting, I'm not going to demonstrate anything to you. I'm not going to show off to you. I'm not going to be flashy. I'm just telling you that I have some stuff here that you have to see if you want to get into this stuff. If you're looking for information, you're like, damn, I just saw this movie. People were doing this stuff. I want to know what the hell they were doing. How do I learn this stuff? I've got the information. If you haven't heard it before, you're hearing it now. So, whenever I first got interested in Tomahawk Longknife fighting, I bought a book. I bought a book by Dwight C. McLemore. Okay. Called The Fighting Tomahawk. The reason why you might be wondering why I'm not talking behind the book is because for whatever reason, the microphone on this new computer, everything kind of gets garbled when I do. And I'm hoping I'm not garbling anything now. I'm going to show you a couple of illustrations to show you how wonderful this thing is. Oh, first of all, the cover. Not bad if I do say so myself. I mean, this is just drawn by, taken from a person's notebook. That's what he did, is basically develop it. Now I'm going to show you some anatomy and some artwork at the same time. I will not be speaking. Let me see if I can find the first drill and show you some of the work there. You're probably not going to be able to see the lines too well, but really great book. So far, so good. And this is like the dead center of the first drill. And it explains things rather well. It goes into some detail. It goes into some history. If you're looking to start off in Tomahawk Longknife fighting, I would suggest getting this book, and I would suggest getting Volume 2 once you have some experience with the drills inside this book. Equipment. Now, I don't have any padding yet, but I highly suggest it. Padding. Lots of padding. Padding. You're going to want padding on the top of your head. You're going to want padding on the sides of your head. You're going to want padding on your fingers. You're going to want padding on your wrists, on your hands, on your shoulders, on your chest, on your groin. You're just going to need it, okay? Because there isn't really any good, decent training equipment out there that is not made from some high tensile strength plastic. Now, whenever I first got into Tomahawk Longknife fighting, first of all, I've been training in martial arts since I was, relatively speaking, about 7 years old. Off and on, training with whomever I could train with, wherever I could train with. Some people have said that I could be referenced as a street fighter. I don't think that's accurate at all whatsoever. I just kind of have a hodgepodge martial art from here to there. A little bit of Aikido, a little bit of Eskrima, a little bit of Taekwondo, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of Muay Thai, a little bit of Gimpukan, a little bit of Bujinkan. But the only thing I know from Bujinkan is rolling. That's about it. That's all. That's my limitation of knowledge on that. And that's sad. Anyways, this isn't the Tomahawk that I bought, but as opposed to buying training gear, I got overly excited and I bought myself a Tomahawk. It was the Field Hawk from Cold Steel. This is the Frontier Hawk from Cold Steel. And the one thing that I don't like about these things is that they're made in Taiwan. Please don't put American Tomahawk company on my axe, wherever the hell it is that you put it, and then have it be made in Taiwan. I mean, how rude can you be? But anyways, I was going for a scissor maneuver, and I damn near splayed open my armpit. Well, no, my arm, and I did splay open my thumb. Something like 4 or 8 stitches, something like that. It was all along here. It's been too long for me to clearly remember. And so don't just go and get yourself a tomahawk. Wait on that. Search. Make sure you find one that works really well. I highly suggest a friction hawk. I highly suggest something that does not come with a pin in it. Okay? I suggest handmade craftsmanship. I suggest, as opposed to going for a $30 to $50 to $60 tomahawk, that you actually go out and spend the money on a $100 to $200 tomahawk. That's just the way it is. You know, and don't expect to be able to use this very easily with a full-sized axe. That's a double-handed weapon. This is a one-handed weapon. Let's just be clear on that. Okay. So, the other book that I got was the second installment. I got this a little bit later on after I had practiced a little bit. This is much more well illustrated. Its explanations are far deeper. Its training is far more extensive. And wow. If you're in the military, if you have a tomahawk, if you want to train with it, get the right training equipment. Buy these books. Some training equipment. Now, I got these from tackknife.com. I got 2 tomahawks, and I got 2 knives. The reasoning behind this is that I wanted a training partner. Okay? 2 of these knives I favor. Well, one of these knives I favor. It's the one that isn't labeled. One of these axes I favor. Guess what? Same deal. It's the one that isn't labeled. This is my training setup. No more or less complicated. Now, why Tomahawk Longknife? Okay, first of all, I know this isn't a long knife, this is a Bowie knife, but tackknife.com did not really have something that would be properly comparable to a long knife. And if you're wondering why I was training from 7 years old off and on, it's because I lived in a military family and we moved around a whole hell of a lot. But anyways, this is a survival set. Yes, you would need more than just a tomahawk and a knife, but this you could use to survive with. You could go out into the wilderness and do what you have to do with. It would take some training, lots of training, matter of factly speaking, but you could take a tomahawk, a real one, and you can skin or process your kill out in the woods. People back in the militiamen, Native Americans, merchants, individuals of that particular like, back in the frontier days used to do that because knives were not always so readily available, nor were they always so well made. Tomahawks were, how were they made? It's explained in the book. You can find it on YouTube, I believe, the explanation. But virtually speaking, tomahawk heads back in the frontier days were almost indestructible. As indestructible as metal can get, okay? Which is somewhere in that area, before the days of messing around with the works of metal. But anyways, this is a really good training tool. Whenever I first got these, I kind of peeved my wife. I took these out to the neighboring tree to my apartment. I took all 4 of them like I was a damn kid who just came from the toy store. and I threw them one by one by one by one at that tree over and over and over again. On the tomahawks, there was a lot of hitting the head area, this area on the tree, not because I'm good at throwing. Matter of factly speaking, as far as throwing is concerned, I am the klutziest SOB that you might ever know as far as throwing an object is concerned. But there was a lot of hitting on the head, there was a lot of hitting on the rear, and there's not a lot of damage. This is a good material, and I mean, just not bad at all. Moderate scuffing at best. You could really go toe to toe with these. Stop arguing. Rude. Anyways, there's a lot of good training work that you can do with this. As far as the books are concerned, start with your training Tomahawk. Get yourself a second one when you can afford it. It's about $100 for two, a little bit over, but about $100 for two. Find somebody who will want to partner up with you. Get yourself some padding. Train together, but not necessarily together. Okay. You get to that, but at first you want to do other stuff. Okay, and eventually you will move to your long knife, and that's about the way it is. The long knife gets a little bit more well detailed in the second book. And the first book, it's primarily your tomahawk. That's primarily what you'll be training with. Train with both hands. Your grips are going to be all over the damn place. Sometimes you're going to be fighting all up close like this, you know, with just the edge. Sometimes you're going to be fighting in somewhat short range, and you're going to need to be kind of choked up. And sometimes you're going to be at a decent placement where you can keep your opponent away from you. Shoot. It's very violent. It's very aggressive. With a tomahawk and long knife setup, you're never going to have the range that a katana has, or any other sword for that matter. You're not going to have the range of a firearm either, but that's any melee weapon. But as far as hand-to-hand melee weapons are concerned, the Tomahawk Longknife set, it's not one weapon in both hands or one weapon in one hand and you're doing your skill the best. It's two weapons, two tools, one in each hand, fighting as best as you can. The drills are simple, they are straightforward, but as time goes by, they get more complicated, more detailed, more work for the upper body. The only area that you utilize your lower body is low kicks, like to the groin and below, nothing above the waist. Basically kicks that are designed to put your opponent's butt on the ground. Most of you who practice martial arts know what I'm talking about. In the hip region, you know, kind of stepping style kicks. I don't think that there are any knee blows, but I really feel that there should be, especially whenever you're all grappled up and close. The practices are simple. They're simple and straightforward. And just like any weapon system, you get out of it what you put into it. If you don't put enough effort into it, you're not going to get anything out of it. Okay, that's just all there is to it. Martial practice is about day in, day out, at least an hour a day, complete dedication, going balls to the walls, training. You start off slow, you work up fast. Anyways, that's my compiled review in the area of Tomahawk Longknife fighting. Once again, no new news. I hope everybody is doing well. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to do videos. We'll be discussing firearms again as soon as I have the time and the money, because shooting my rifle is extraordinarily expensive. Y'all have a nice day.